everybody, it's me Shandi, and I am coming back to you again with a video that's quite different from the MBLEX or anything dealing with massage therapy. To be honest with you, when I first started this channel, I really just wanted to focus on language learning and skincare because I am all about skincare, and I did not expect for it to take off the way that it did when I posted a video about the MBLEX. So I have been gone for a while and I haven't posted anything in regards to the MBLEX because I didn't want to, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work and I just really didn't feel like it, but don't worry, I will post an MBLEX video. So for those of you that did not come here for the MBLEX video, hello and welcome, and don't forget to click the button down below and subscribe. So today I'm just talking to you about language learning and how I was able to learn 4 languages. The languages that I speak, of course, English being my first, and then Spanish, French, well, not in any particular order, Spanish, French, Garifuna, and I'm also learning Korean, Chinese, and Dutch. Now, the first 4 languages I'm able to speak comfortably. Garifuna, I've actually caught onto it a lot quicker than I thought I would. I think that it's because I can speak fluent French, why it was a lot easier for me to catch on to Garifuna, because it's very it has a lot of French words, French words in there. Just like with English, English has a lot of French words in there too. So basically, every language is not the same. Let me rephrase that. The way that you learn a language is not always going to be the same. It's different. For example, I was brought up in a household that spoke English, right? Right. With Spanish, I learned Spanish from listening to songs. It was easier for me to learn that way. I tried to sit in a class and learn Spanish by sitting in class. I just could not catch on to it. But when I'm in conversation with other Spanish speakers, it's so much easier for me to understand them. Also, I can read Spanish, but when it comes to me having to write it, or or having to sit in a class and listen to it, I'm just sitting there like. With French, I did learn French in class. I went to school for French, and then I ended up studying abroad for some time in Strasbourg, which is closer to Germany. And I had a host family and everything, and nobody was allowed to speak to me in English, even the population of. Long story short, I was fully immersed in the French language, and I had to catch on. When you're living in a place where people are speaking one language and you're speaking something else, and you want to be understood, and people really don't feel like taking the time out to be patient with you, you will learn the language, trust and believe. It gave me a new respect for people that come to this country, that come to the US, or even anywhere where there's English being spoken as the primary language, and they're having a hard time communicating what it is that they want and need and where they want to go and whatever, because they don't speak the language. So I was a foreigner. I was in a foreign land, and it was difficult. But if I wanted to be able to be understood, then I was going to have to buckle down and really learn the language. And thankfully, the students where I went to school, I attended the Université de Strasbourg. I was at the school where people learn how to speak French, because that's what my program consisted of. Yeah, and the people in my class, well, they wanted to learn English, so and I was the only American in my class, so they were more than willing, to help me learn how to speak French, giving me lots of tips and tricks and what videos to watch on YouTube. It was great. I was so grateful. Now with Garifuna, I'm taking a class. I'm continuing to take a class in Garifuna, it's not too difficult for me to understand, especially since I didn't realize that we were already saying some of the words. Like, Garifuna is my culture, but I just didn't speak the language. And my parents, my mom, she doesn't speak the language either, but it's there. It's there. It's running through my blood. It's just there. But that's another conversation for another day. For the most part, like, when I have my Garifuna class, the class is kind of, it's like half immersion. I definitely, somebody had tried to teach me Garifuna years ago just by speaking, and I could not learn it. Even I tried listening to the songs, and I could, and I would try to like follow along with the words to the songs and listen to it, but I'm just like, yeah, some of the letters have not been used. How do you pronounce that, you know, that particular letter with the 2 dots on the top? Like, it was difficult. So now I'm in the class, and I'm, you know, and having things explained, you know, for this is so much better. So like, I have a whole entire book of Garifuna sayings and stuff, and I write down everything. Like, there's not really any organization to this book. However stuff is said in the class, I just write it down. And I also ordered, I also bought a book, the Garifuna Trilingual Dictionary. And there's, and I also have the book Conversemos on Garifuna. And that one is in Spanish, but it's like the explanations for it are so much better. So it takes me a little bit longer. It would take me a little bit longer to get through the book, but it's also helping me with my Spanish too. No matter what it is, when it comes to language learning, like, the point of what I'm trying to say is that for every language that I learned, I had to learn it a different way. For French, I had to learn by going to the country. Like, I thought that I knew a lot because I got A's in my French classes. But when I got over there, I was just like, I cried. I was like, with Spanish, everyone kind of just assumed that I spoke Spanish. So I had a lot of experience with Spanish, because they're just like, oh, you're Dominican, you know. And I'm just like, I don't know how you thought I was Dominican, but hey, let's go for it. And then they would just start speaking, and it forced me to kind of like grasp the language. And then with the music, and I'm like, oh wait, what they just said, I remember that from this song. So that's how I learned Spanish. With Garifuna, I'm in this class, this online class, and it's like repetition over and over and over. And then he forces us to create sentences, and then you realize how easy it is to create sentences. Now, one thing that I can say is that when it comes to conjugations, it's like, if you're good at conjugating things, if you're good at conjugating verbs and then connecting them to the noun, you might be able to learn Garifuna too. The Garifuna Trilingual Dictionary that I have, it's all right. The only thing is, you have to, like I said, you have to be able to conjugate it properly, because it'll just give you the verb, but it doesn't give you the verb and the conjugation. Also, with language learning, you have to be on top of it. You can't say, well, I'm gonna learn this I'm gonna study this today, and then next week I'm not gonna study anything. Or I'm gonna study this today and then I'll pick it back up again in about 6 days. Like, you have to stick to the language. When you stick to the language will stick to you. My professor says that all the time, and it's true. It's like an everyday thing, even if it's like 15 minutes a day. If you studied a language for at least 15 minutes a day, I can guarantee that by the end of the month, you're gonna know a little something. By the end of 3 months, you're gonna know a lot of something. 15 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. Trust me. So basically, everyone, that is it. Oh, and with Korean, Chinese, and Dutch, that one is a little bit difficult because I'm finding out that with Korean and Chinese have characters. It took me a lot longer, so I kind of like put those to the side and just study them little by little. Those are going to take me some time, but your girl is going to be learning some Korean and Chinese very soon. Dutch is similar to English, so it's not really that difficult. And some people might ask me, well, why do you want to learn Dutch? Well, because I have family members that live in the Netherlands and that's their language, and I want to be able to communicate with them. Language learning is just such a beautiful thing, and I think that everybody should know at least, or try to learn more than one language, and plus it's good for your brain. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Drop something below. Please rate, comment, subscribe. Like, what else would you like to know about language learning? And I'll see you guys soon. Bye. Did I even do that right?